Majesty.
We are pulling into my Maverick's home away from home. This is Alabama Affordable Automotive. If you were looking for a used vehicle at an affordable price, call your friends at Alabama Affordable Automotive. In the back here, if you need any vehicle maintenance or repairs, give them a shout. They can do it all. One call, Alabama Affordable does it all. Before we get started on today's installation, I want to first give a little caveat here. We are not the expert. Flatout Suspension, who makes this suspension kit, is. So the instructions that you've been provided in your kit are what you need to go by, step by step, line by line. Don't miss anything. And then I'm also going to link in the show notes how you can adjust your suspension system, how you can play around with those spanner wrench tools and make those adjustments with the suspension, how to measure it, how to ensure your travel is where you want it to be, make sure it's soft versus hard. I'll put all that in here, but I just wanted to say make sure that you depend on the people who create this and not solely on this video to do your installation, because you may miss something because we've already installed it on the 22. We're moving it to the 25, so it may look very simple, but in reality there may be something that we miss in today's episode, and our goal is always to be helpful. So make sure you check out your instructions and go step by step with those. As you can see, we have made it to the shop, and so what they're going to start doing is they're just figuring out on this 2025 what needs to be taken apart. That way they can access everything. The top of the strut there, they have to take 3 bolts off, so they're just removing those panels. But what we'll do is I'll just keep progress as we go along and keep you updated. If there's anything that we missed that you have questions about, just let us know. Breakfast of Champions, honey bun, electrolyte. Get your electrolytes for the day, your sugar intake for the morning. I'm just going to talk you through exactly what to do. So again, you're going to make sure that you have this out of the way. You're going to have these 3 bolts with the washers here that you're going to remove from the 3 locations on the top of the strut. Once you have those removed, then you're going to move down underneath. When it comes to installing the flat-out suspension has studs. So it has essentially threads that come up through this, so you're not bolting down into it. You're just simply putting the nut down onto it and locking it and securing it into place. But now that we have these 3 out, these factory ones, we will be moving it over to my old Maverick. But in this event, if you were just changing out the suspension, you would just leave that with the suspension that you're taking off in case you want to use it at a later date, because you're not going to need them here. So we'll go ahead and lift it up and move underneath. First step when it comes to the bottom side of the suspension, removing it, you're going to take this brake line, you're going to take it off, you're going to just get it out of the way, and then you're going to take this electrical line off and do the same thing. Just get them both out of the way. What was it? This goes. You got an 8mm bolt back here in the back that's just holding this brake line off, or on, that you're going to take off. Next part is you are going to take this spindle loose. So you got this bottom nut that you're going to loosen up here, and then this top one. Once you get these off, you just want to thread them back on just a little bit there, because what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take the hammer and you're going to have to punch them through. You don't want to do that, mess up your bolt, and so you just barely thread it on, and then you're going to have the opportunity to then hammer it out. Before you let these all the way out, you want to make sure that you detach your sway bar here. So go ahead and take that off. And so there's a piece right here that has some rubber, and so you just want to take it, you want to clamp it down, because what it's doing is it's just free spinning there. There you go. Go ahead and let it come all the way off. Next thing you want to do is just take a pry bar. You're going to maneuver it kind of in here like this. You just want to get it to where the leverage is off of there so you can maneuver this around.
You just, there you go.
Turn it. There we go. Just going to push that out of the way. And now we're going to go finish taking these off. And then now you're just going to let this spindle kind of sit down. Just going to hold your shock up there and just work that out. And then you're going to just remove it out of the way. Next part's going to require 2 people. So what you want to do is just hand this up to your buddy up top. They can get on a ladder. When you go to put this up in here, you want to make sure that this part is sticking out so that spindle can attach to it. And then you can see that this freely rotates. And so you just want to look up in there and match it up to those 3 holes that are in there. So just kind of maneuver it up in here and get it situated. Okay. There it is. While I'm holding this down here, Harley's just going to tighten those nuts onto place. Remember, this has studs, so you're not reusing those bolts. You're just putting the washers on top of it up there. I'm sure you could figure out a way to do it by yourself, but it's always good to have friends. Okay, now that it's in, we're just going to attach this spindle, so you might have to rotate it around, and then we may have to use that transmission jack again to get it where we want it. This side actually looks like it's sitting high, so it should be fine.
There you go.
Yep.
There's thread sticking out.
Yeah. Well, give it a little tappy. Little tap, tap, taparoo. Just like we did on the other side, we're just going to move that transmission jack under here. Go ahead and lift it up. You can see how this CV is sitting in here. It's kind of at a steep angle. It's not going to hurt anything because it's never going to be this low, but we're just going to lift it up so it relieves some pressure and lines these holes up.
All right.
Next piece is on this spindle right here. You want to tighten down on this nut side. You want to tighten it down, and if you look really close, it's got these lines that go in there, and what that's going to do is going to suck that bolt into the spindle area to secure it in place. Just for assurance, impact can do pretty much, it can do a pretty decent job, but you just want to secure it with the bar one last time. And then you want to bend this down so it doesn't crunch. You know, if you were to put this down in there right now, it's really, really tight and it's crunching that brake line right there. And so you just want to change that angle slightly so you don't have to worry about that crunch. And then you're just going to insert this in back exactly how it was. Before we finish the rest of the install, we're going to go ahead and remove this sway bar link right here, get it out of the way. This is a kind of tight spot, and so what you can do is you put this on there, and then if you want to get more leverage on this, you know, you can just leverage it that way. So we'll go ahead and go around the back side here.
And then you take that second one off.
Once you break that nut loose on the back, you're going to hold with a pair of pliers the same way that we did on this side to prevent it from spinning. You're just going to hold that tight as you go ahead and loosen it up the rest of the way. There we go. Go ahead and remove it, and now we'll put the new one in. If you've never put these in before, they are universal, so it doesn't matter if top, bottom. Yep. Then you're going to discard the factory nuts, and you're going to put these that come with the GR Plus suspension in there. And then this one won't get up in there.
You have to hold it probably. other side I didn't, but
okay. And then you want to put your electrical lines back in, so you're going to attach it there and then there. But that's it from the front. If there's any questions, please put those in the comments. Now we're going to move back to the rear. So here at the rear, what we have done so far is we had it lowered before so we could reach the 2 bolts there at the top, took those loose, and then we raised it up, and that gives us access to the rest of the suspension bolts. So obviously we took the bolt out right here on that swing arm that's coming out, and then these subframe bolts we've taken out here, here, and then 2 right here. And so as we continue, I'll continue to update you. At this point, what we have done so far is we had removed the factory spring in the back, and we have installed, or just temp installed, the flat-out spring in the back. We've put these spacers into place, so you have 2 spacers that Flatout is going to provide you that attach, or that go between the subframe and that attachment point. And before we run the bolts up in there, we're just going to put some Loctite on those. So we're going to secure those into place and then secure these. And when it comes to removing the spring in the back, when you take that factory spring off, you're going to remove everything on the bottom, but you're going to leave everything on the top. And so remove all of this. You're going to take the rubber gasket that Flatout provides, put it down over this kind of notch here that comes off of that swing arm, and then you're going to put that spring in place, and then we're going to start to secure everything down. We added Loctite to all the bolts and secured them in. On here, you have a spacer here, here, and then you have 2 up in here. Basically, all the subframe attachment points that we loosened, we put spacers in, and then we tighten them back up, and then we attach that spindle. So next, what we'll do, now that we have the spring in, we'll go ahead and put the shock in, and then we'll start to do our height adjustments and our spring adjustments there at the end to give you an idea of how to do that. This right here, just like it was with the factory one, you're just going to put this down in here, back behind the spindle where the bolt goes through here, and then we'll lower the truck down and bolt these 2 up. When it comes to the adjustment of these pieces here, these rings that spin around, you want to take your spanner wrenches and you want to spin these around. You're going to have to get a bar to do so, and then you're just going to adjust the height. And so there's an entire adjustment tutorial on the website that I'm going to link, that put in the notes. We already know a rough idea of where we wanted to preset these. There's a whole process where you have to put weight on the truck, so let it go all the way down to the ground, put weight on it with the wheels and tires on it, and then you jack it back up. You have to do measurements. There's a lot of things that come into play, but for us, what we've done is we've put this just 2 inches high here, and then I've got the suspension all the way soft. That's how I like it majority of the time. I'll harden up the suspension occasionally, but when it comes to adjusting these, we did 2 inches from the base of these threads, so 2 inches up from the base of the threads, and then we just locked that spanner ring in there nice and tight. But if you have any questions about this, let me know, but I will link the instructions in the show notes. Now that we have everything put back together, as we go to mount up the front, the only rubbing that I had on the previous model was right here. There is a weld, like a pinch weld, that comes together right here. So we're just going to slice this here. We'll cut a few notches in it, and then we'll hammer it over and get it out of the way, so that way when you're turning, you don't get that rubbing inside there. But other than that, with these tires, we haven't had any other rubbing issues. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll get the tires mounted up and then get them ready to go off for alignment. Once you have all the wheels and tires on, tighten up the lug nuts, lower it down, and then you're just going to put the covers that cover up the top of these struts. You're going to put these covers back on each side. Once you button up under the hood and you put that top piece back, you are going to be finished at that point. So you get to roll it out and put it on a test drive. Again, we still have to do an alignment, which we've got that scheduled for tomorrow. But for now, we're going to go put it a little bit to use and see how it rolls and rides and make sure that we don't have any rubbing or, frontwards, backwards, turning the wheel all the way one way, all the way the other. Make sure that we're good to go. But once we have the alignment, be sure to look out for episodes coming where we're going to be doing more off-roading to test out this suspension system. I can tell you I've loved it on my 22. It's like riding on a cloud, and you will love yours. Again, this is the GR Plus suspension system from Flatout Suspension. When you use code REVIVE, you get a discount off of your purchase, but then they also make a donation back to us. So be sure to use that code. Let Russell know that we are sending you his way. But I am really excited for you to get one. Like me, I get it. The price tag is more than just putting a little lift on it. You get the little super lift for a few $100. But if you are wanting a true comfort ride when you go off-road and you want a dependable suspension that has feedback and has good travel on it, you're going to want to get this. I bit the bullet. I know you can bite the bullet. It's really, really fun to have a small truck that can go through the woods like a side-by-side and go off-roading like a side-by-side, but you can take it on the interstate at 70 miles an hour when it's ready to do that. But I appreciate you watching today's episode, and we'll see you on the next installment of Maverick Mondays here at Revive Outdoors. If this is your first time to our channel, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do. So Revive Outdoors is a Christian-based nonprofit located in Birmingham, Alabama, and we teach adults how to hunt. So our mission statement is that we make a positive and eternal impact through conservation, so through doing what we love. And the way that we do that is we teach adults how to hunt through a hunting 101 workshop, and then once they have those skills built in that workshop, they then qualify for a one-on-one mentored hunt with our staff. And while they are on that mentored hunt, we're going to just identify where they're at in their walk with the Lord and get them to take a next step. So sometimes that's towards salvation, getting involved with our team, getting involved with their local church community, or multiple other ways that they can connect spiritually. We also want to identify where they're at mentally and help them take that next step. So since 2020, we have seen 372 adults come through our entire workshop and one-on-one mentorship process, our entire mentorship program. We've seen 372 adults come through it. Out of those, we've helped connect 110 of those adults to mental health counseling. And then a little bit of a drum roll, come on. We've had 52 people come to know the Lord through Jesus Christ, and we cannot do it without support like you. And the way that you support us is obviously you can donate, but when you use these discount codes or you use these links, it is not only helping you get a discount, but is also letting that company know you've seen our video and you want to support us as well. So when you make those purchases with our discount codes, it is going to let that company know, and then they are going to make a donation back to us here at Revive Outdoors. So we are all supporting our mission together. Since the 80s, hunting has declined 57%. So if you imagine 6 out of 10 of your hunting buddies being gone, that is how much it has declined. And our goal is to reverse that number, and we can't do it without support like you. We hope you have enjoyed this episode today. We thank you again for supporting our mission, and we'll see you on the next one.